Is it Joaquin Phoenix's best movie? Probably not. The most captivating film of the year? That's debatable, but it's definitely one to watch at least once. Give it a shot. Beau is Afraid suggests that there's quite a jumble in here. Social maladjustment, attention deficit disorder, anxiety, overprotection, sexual disorders. Yet, viewing the film merely as a medical reference book misses the point. Directors often weave complex themes into their films, but it's not always about profound hidden meanings. Sometimes it's just their personal interpretations and projections. David Lynch once remarked about Mulholland Drive this way: "Take it easy, they're just dreams." Director Ari Aster takes a similar approach in the film Beau is Afraid. He blends numerous ideas, leaving it up to us to decide the outcome. Watching a linear plot is as simple as it gets. Here, the strict formula of a road movie is applied. Beau plans to visit his mother, hears about her supposed death, and starts a journey. Whether he's at the family home, on the stage of a theater in the forest, fleeing a real shootout in the woods, and so on, in the end, he arrives where he aimed to. Aster crafts this film based on his own screenplay, drawing inspiration from his 2011 short, Beau, where one can see glimpses of his directorial inclinations. That same year, he released The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. It was one of his first works. It's a short film you can watch on YouTube for free. See it, and you'll get what I'm talking about. Personality deviations, sexual disorders, and a morbid fascination with death have been mesmerizing Ari Aster from the beginning. Remember his first full-length movie, Hereditary? Death and the ensuing family troubles. Midsommar from 2019? Death surrounded by cult practices and, yet again, relationship turmoil. The new Beau delves into the trauma of family twists, borrowing a touch from previous works and fueling the flame with fresh logs such as the reconciliation of medical drugs, pervasive corporate surveillance, and other topics bordering on conspiracy theories. With its 3-hour runtime, it'll surely resonate with conspiracy buffs, A24 fans, and those who relish delving into the bizarre. But is there genuine depth to it? Well, let's check it out. Hey everyone, welcome to the Filmosophy channel. Here's a concise review of Beau is Afraid.
Do you ever wish that she was dead?
What? Of course not.
The first theme the film introduces is that of a psychologist and patients. Beau visits a psychologist or even a psychiatrist who prescribes him new medications. They must be taken strictly with water, or everything will go haywire.
Always with water. Always.
Actually, there are no medications with such stringent instructions. In the case of real, complex, and dangerous medications, the patient would more likely be kept in the hospital under supervision, rather than being suggested to arrange a chemotherapy at home with makeshift means. This exaggerated method calls into question the professionalism and ethics of such a psychiatrist. In the end, he turns out to be a collaborator of Beau's mother, hired to spy on him, betraying him by leaking all of his information in recordings.
Which one was my favorite, Jeremy?
October 3, 2018.
How could you?
Could it be that psychologists actually reveal all their patients' secrets? Where does trust end, and who can assure us of it? By US law, a psychologist isn't allowed to disclose information about a patient unless they display clear intentions to commit suicide, physically harm someone else, or commit a terrorist act. But on what grounds will the doctor decide that there is indeed a threat and it's time to call the feds? The doctor, played by Stephen Henderson, undermines the authority of the entire psychotherapy industry when he puts Beau in a desperate situation for money. Doctors can't be trusted. Prescribed medications are harmful. How do you move on after that?
82nd Airborne Division, Caracas. Killed in action.
The theme of doctors is also carried forward in the plot involving a family that lost their son in the war. The head of the family is also a doctor, albeit a surgeon. Depicted as a typical wealthy white American doctor whose own family is in a state of mental disarray, and he diligently ignores it. In their backyard lives a former soldier with PTSD. Wait a minute, was it him who killed their son in the war? Judging by his reactions and overall behavior, it seems like the director aimed to intensify an already absurd situation. The slightly exaggerated character Tony represents teenage rebellion by attempting suicide through paint ingestion, and here, there's a subtle mockery with the use of colors. As is customary, pink is for girls and blue is for boys, but no one shows any clear signs of gender dysphoria, making the topic of medication and doctors seem left without attention.
Don't worry, Beau. False alarm.
It's okay, Beau. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's all under control.
The second major theme is the invasion of personal space, as well as anxiety disorder.
He is known for prowling the streets without clothes and stabbing random pedestrians in the neck and guts.
The fear of going out into a world that seems hostile towards you. The news only terrifies you with horrors. Neighbors yell and scare you with notes slipped under the door. The brightest and most captivating part of the film is undoubtedly the first segment, where Beau battles with all manifestations of social interaction. How would you feel if someone was to slip notes under your door in the middle of the night? Or what if suddenly your front door keys went missing just as you needed to leave for the airport? Or someone's chasing you and you couldn't make it inside your apartment? Such vulnerability is meticulously laid out in the exposition, creating a genuine sense of anxiety for the main character. Even if everything is okay with him, you can't call such a city and such a life normal. It more seems like a simulation, a made-up world, as all this horror is seen not only by Beau, but also by us. Forgetting to lock his door, the entire city and all of its crazies break into Beau's apartment. And he doesn't resist. How do you deal with those who ruthlessly invade your personal space, destroying everything in their way? The director suggests a version of distancing. Wait outside in the hope that it will eventually resolve itself. Is this avoiding conflict or just being unable to handle the situation? Even if you get hooked by this topic, sadly, it doesn't go anywhere. Notice that from the second half of the movie, there is no social insight. The story just smoothly takes us in a different direction, and this kind of retrospective is more like suggesting, what if it's all about this? Or maybe it's all about medicine? Or maybe it's post-traumatic stress? It's like the director is shuffling through cards, hoping to find the right one. The post-traumatic stress really takes the stage from the middle of the film. The already mentioned soldier is literally a classic representation of this concept. War, the inability to return to a normal, peaceful life, is all very clear here. However, we must also remember that within this disorder, any traumatic event from the past that subsequently causes strong negative emotions, thoughts, and memories must be understood. Beau recalls how his mother used to lock him in the attic. It's hardly likely that such actions can be excused by love, but Beau doesn't judge this traumatic event from his childhood. In the house, we see the mother has established a gigantic business empire, and her son is, one way or another, caught up in this operation. The collection of varied goods doesn't have any connection with each other. It ranges from household gadgets, personal stuff, to even food. Look, you can notice that the mother's corporation logo has been accompanying this man's life from the very beginning.
I'm sorry.
Elaine!
Shit, fuck, I gotta go.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Tomorrow?
It's hard to gauge the traumatic effect his first love had on the boy. The scene where he meets a girl on the cruise ship was meant to be his way out of his mother's control, but she scared him so much as a child that now it feels more like a trauma than a dream. Remember the movie Brazil, where the main character escapes from reality through the image of a woman, more like an angel? Here, Beau keeps a photo of the girl taken against the background of a dead body floating in a swimming pool. The most prevalent theme of the film is, of course, the mama's boy dynamic. There is no father, and the mother raises her child based on her own perception of what is good and bad for him. She views her son as an ungrateful entity that has robbed her of her youth, beauty, and even her life. By life, I mean her theatrical staging of her own death with a severed head. So eccentric. Who is this woman that, for a theatrical stunt of this nature, convinces Beau's former nanny to commit suicide for money and then waits to see how her son would react to his mother's death?
You didn't just get dropped in out of the blue to your surprise, your deceased mother's room, only days after what you believed was her death. You didn't just get deposited there by accident. Yes, I know you didn't.
I knew you weren't dead.
Such a crude manipulation tactic is hardly feasible in real life. And as she completely controls his life as much as possible, the credit card is in her name. The TV shows not only past events but also glimpses into the future, and the absurdity of the trial scene is right on the edge of making artistic sense. The prosecutor on behalf of the mother accuses Beau of all her disappointments. The defense attorney isn't even heard. The trial is orchestrated by the mother, who accuses him of not only a lack of love, but also betrayal. She ingrained in him the idea that he would die if he ever had sex, specifically if he ejaculated.
Get it, you stupid idiot. That wasn't a dream. That was a memory.
Wait! Mommy, wait!
The finale unfolds the final theme, aimed to provoke the viewer. But first, I must applaud Patti LuPone for her incredible performance. Although she appears only towards the end, her character is unforgettable. A commanding, semi-insane, and strikingly beautiful woman who almost manages to overshadow Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin, of course, is splendid in this role, and so is the actor playing the childhood version. By the way, it's not a deepfake, it's an actual actor with that appearance, in case you weren't aware.
Suck this off. What?
Does he look like Joaquin? It seems very much so. The last theme worth discussing is the overarching Freudian concept and theories associated with sexual development. It's an infinite world of norms and deviations that even experts can't fully grasp. The film starts with a birth and ends with the demise of the main character, coming full circle not only with biblical motifs, there's even a boat in the middle of a lake, but also the theme of the Oedipus complex. This is where everything starts. The conscious and subconscious mind, the mother's womb, a giant penis in the attic, and all the other scenes related to sex. Immanence is contrasted with transcendence, and all of this is laid out for the audience to judge. The director implies that the viewers, irrespective of where they watch the film, are also participants in the final act. This technique isn't new, and works here in a puzzling way. Either we too should judge Beau, or quietly leave feeling somewhat guilty. The film doesn't leave you feeling comfortable after watching, as there's a sense that you were somehow supposed to understand something and arrive at certain conclusions. The film becomes much easier to digest if you approach it as a piece of art, a compilation of various remarkable artistic techniques. Wonderful, strange, at times mesmerizing, and even terrifying performances, beautiful sets, meticulous attention to detail, and the creation of a mystical atmosphere. These are the elements that should attract audiences to watch the film. Trying to tie together all the themes might give the viewer a headache or total dislike. Some might say it's just about schizophrenia. Others might get caught up in one of the themes, but I recommend not to stress and enjoy all of the fears of Beau. I hope my review helps you decide whether to watch the movie or skip it. If you've already given a like, check out other movie reviews on this channel. If not, now's the time to do so. This video will end in a few seconds. Thanks for the like.